Hello, adventurers, and welcome to another episode of CORECAST The Corepunk podcast. I'm your host, BOAST, and this is episode 5, and it's a special one. Just the other night, we were dropped the quarterly update Q1 2020, and this comes in what is already a very interesting time, not just for us Corepunk fans, but for the world itself. So, as people sit inside and look for things to do, look for content to consume, to fight boredom of this quarantine that we sit in, the great folks at Artificial Core have dropped some content on us. And once again, quarterly update Q1 2020, something that a lot of people have been waiting for. And I think the content itself is something that makes a lot of people happy and has fulfilled some of the desires from some of the fans. But of course, there's always the fans that aren't going to get enough out of the content drops, and we've heard a bit from them as well. So today, I've got Dragom on the show. Welcome back, Dragom.
Thank you for having me, Boost.
Absolutely. And we are going to discuss this content update, what it means for Corepunk, our personal opinions on the update itself, and if they made us joyful or not. And then we're also going to discuss Dragom's personal philosophies, because he seems to have some pretty good predictions on the things that are coming up with this game. And so that's very interesting for me, because working in development, you tend to have a very tunnel vision view of what you're working on and what you expect the fans to think when you share that with them. And it's not always that case, and a lot of times it's very off from what they expected. Dragom is getting pretty good at predicting this stuff, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and maybe he'll share some of his process with us. So once again, Dragom, welcome back to CORECAST, and let's jump in here. So the first thing at the very top is gender unlocked. And in my opinion, this is one of the most important conversations at the beginning, not because I feel one way or another about it, but because a lot of the community feels very strongly about it, coming from an MMO background where customization is usually king, or at least in some games it is. And this was a massive opportunity for Artificial Core to look at the community feedback from early on and potentially implement some of that feedback and really build some faith and some hope with the community. And I really think they've done that with this first announcement. So Dragom, let's talk about gender unlocked. What does that mean for the community? What does that mean for the game? And what does that mean for you personally?
Right, so the gender unlocked and in general the customization of the characters has been confirmed, and we've got some snippets of information on the how the characters are going to look like, and in general I would say that yeah, it's a good thing, except there is one but that I've probably been pretty well, I've talked about it here and there. It's that I thought that the character being sort of locked and predetermined before, like, that you don't create a character, that you basically choose it, would be a big aspect of the game. But later I've watched some videos, I read the forums again, and apparently it was just a time investment and something that the Artificial Core studios were saving time on. And I'm generally pretty happy that they managed to cram some stuff in, and they had the time and the effort to put into this more customizable aspect of the game. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it also was first shown with selectable, almost pre-created characters or like archetypes. I didn't mind it personally because I've played a million games where I get to create my own character. And so this was kind of an opportunity to play something that was a vision of the developers. And this is something I was totally fine with, especially because it then brings this style and this character to the character that I wouldn't necessarily have come up with on my own. That said, though, I think it's really cool that they're already showing some diversity in the characters, in the gender and the race and all of this, because I think this region of the world in game making kind of gets a reputation of not really being so fluid with this kind of stuff in games. And I think it's really a good show from them that not only do they care about what the community is after, but they're also, care about different subsets of the community as well. And they're really trying to bring something for everyone. And it's really cool to see the start of their process of that as well. So maybe this is something that they had because, as you mentioned, this was a time consideration. And so maybe they already had these concepts, but also maybe this is something that now they are just starting to create. So once again, we're able to see something created from the very beginning, and that's really cool to be a part of that process.
Yeah. Except I wanted to add one little thing. They don't mention that you can choose the in-game race of your character. So it's still the same character, but you get to customize it a little bit. So for example, in the head art of the update, we see these elf-like characters with horns. And from my understanding, you would not be able to choose whether your character is human or that race, or even a robot or something.
Okay, still cool though to see them putting this into place, and it really, I think, also shows a good example of the community versus the developers' understanding of what is time consuming, and the fact that developers a lot of times have to cut really cool stuff because of time and bandwidth and all this, and that these decisions aren't always easy ones. They're usually very hard decisions, and I'm sure this was a hard decision for them on both sides of this when they decided to have locked genders and locked characters, and then when they decided to unlock it as well. It's a tough decision because you really have to balance everything else around it as well. I do love the looks of this. Their concept art is really cool. I really like it. I like how they lay this out. I like how they have sort of these mannequins, and then they're showing the different hairstyles and facial hairstyles and so forth. And there is mustaches and beards, which I'm very happy about. So I think I'm going to be potentially able to create a character that is much to my liking. So that's character creation, a huge part of the update that we just got.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and up for our second topic of the CORECAST podcast, episode 5, is Heroes and Masteries. And so this was one that I think we didn't have a lot of information on from the beginning. I think the information that we did have was also limited to the people that were really paying attention to this kind of stuff. But what we've been awarded with in this update, this content update, is more information on Heroes and Masteries. And it says that they're focused on polishing 6 heroes for the closed beta test, each with 3 distinct weapon masteries. For example, the champion that you've seen in the trailer will be able to fight with a 2-handed sword, 1-handed sword and a shield, or be an archer with a bow. And they're going to tell us more information about that during their live stream or this video that they will be coming out with in the next month or so. So Heroes and Masteries, it's still something I really don't understand yet, Dragom. I look at it and I think without a deeper look into it that it's a cool system with depth that I'm going to be able to play around with my character build. But I don't understand more to it than that.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the same side with you on that, because from what we've seen so far, if we are to look at the latest picture of the skill tree, of the weapons mastery tree, it's pretty different from what we've seen from the trailer. And from my understanding, again, it's the same system.
Okay.
So yeah, and so they've probably changed the system somewhere along the development. And I think this time it's pretty clear that those 3 skill trees you can go for during the development, the progression of your character, are directly tied to the weaponry you are going to use.
I personally like that. I like that with games like Albion, games that even Call of Duty does this, right? Like to improve your mastery of the weapon, you must use it and you must be successful with it, and it rewards you for paying attention to and building upon that particular gear set and build set. And I actually like this because this in itself also creates sort of an archetype within the character that you're creating. For example, in Modern Warfare, I have fallen in love with the light machine gun, and I have been 100% a machine gunner. I have turned into a machine gunner, and I've been working on that and building on that. And this has become the character that I've been playing, and this is the role that I end up playing in these matches I'm playing. And so I really enjoy that. I look forward to seeing more information on this because, again, I really don't understand how it's going to play out or work exactly quite yet. So to see some changes here, I think is also interesting. And I would love to know why the changes were made, if this was also a time thing, or if this was a feedback thing, or if this was just a personal iteration of their own from their own play tests, or who knows what it's from. But that would be a very interesting one to learn more about in the live stream or in a future Q&A.
Right, and potentially, since it would somewhat limit the player in the options of the gameplay, since you can only use this one specific weapon for this one specific weapon mastery, it provides more potential for the developer to actually polish and think through the abilities for the player more than you would be able to do if the player was able to use more weapons.
That's a very good point, because it becomes so focused on that specific mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very cool. And do you have any other insight to this? Do you have any predictions on what we may see next with this?
It's hard to tell, but probably the most interesting one would be those characters where, those 3 specs are different. So with the champion that we've been shown, it's mostly all DPS. Yeah, it's different from its being ranged to its being melee, but if it's something like Bomber or the Fire Mage, maybe there will be something a bit different. And from my understanding, they said that they are going to have guns, right? And we haven't seen much of those yet.
Yes, this is something I'm really excited for. I really gravitate towards guns in games like this. I feel like they're usually so overlooked in comparison to swords and axes and maces and hammers and things like that. So I really look forward to that as well.
Yeah, let me tank with a shotgun.
Yes. The Juggernaut shotgunner. And back to Bomber Girl, we may also see a Bomber Boy. Is that not right?
Oh, yes, yeah. So it's Bomber, I guess.
Yeah.
Bomber person.
The Bomber. All right. So Heroes and Masteries. Really quick, and one more poke at a potential prediction. Do you think we'll see more of this in their live stream or their follow-up video that they bring to us?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I can see that perfectly clear. At least, if not on a what was it, early May.
Yeah.
It's going to be shown in June.
Okay.
Intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah, we will see. Only time will tell with this one. This is also, though, very exciting.
So, I mean, even on the screenshot of the mastery tree, some things have slipped in. For example, some people on the Discord noticed that now where this central piece of the interface on the bottom of the screen,
Right
next to that, there is a mount button now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Now it is.
Very cool. So it's the development of this game is continuing on many levels, and we're getting some glimpses into that. I'm excited for the mounts as well. Some of these technical type mounts have really spoken to me, if you will, and I'm very excited to see those more in game as well. So that was Heroes and Masteries, topic 2 on episode 5 of CORECAST. All right, and that brings us to gameplay streams and their dates. So they have acknowledged that many of us want to see gameplay footage, and they said that they're working on it and that they're going to next show some gameplay in either a video or stream, 15 to 30 minutes in early May, and a much longer one, a couple hours or more, in June. They may even invite some streamers to play and stream the game as well, but they'll see about that. So, gameplay streams and dates. You asked me what I thought would be here, and I did say that we would get some dates, or at least I was hoping we would get some dates. And sure enough, we did get, well, not exactly dates, to be fair, but some months. And some information specific to months where we will get more information.
Yeah, I would assume that the early May is as close Artificial Core Studios can get to a date as, for example, Valve can get to a 3.
Right. Yeah, it's fair. With everything going on, it's even to give a month is a big, I wouldn't say risk or gamble, but it's just showing a lot of faith in the work that they're putting in and how their process is working right now.
They play the cards right because subjectively, gameplay is the most valuable thing a developer can show for an upcoming game.
Sure. Let's talk about that though for a second. So everyone is always like more gameplay, but they're never really specific. As a developer, you can keep showing gameplay and you will still get more gameplay. So I know that this is a tough one. Also, what you show in that gameplay isn't necessarily going to make you happy, where I might be happy with it. So,
of course,
yeah, it's really tough because they don't want to show the whole game at the same time. At least I wouldn't think that. And so they have to be, especially in a 15 to 30 minute stream, very specific to what they show. So, yeah, but that said, gameplay is king because this is what we're going to be doing in there. So, yeah, more people want to see more, and it sounds like we're going to get more. But what specifically do you show? And it could very much be just this update that we're talking about right now, that they show and highlight each of these things. Do you think it will be very different from that?
It's a hard question. It's probably, if people ask for more gameplay and you show them gameplay, they start saying that it's scripted and it's not what the game is.
Right. That's another part and possibility.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, it normally is. And whether or not that is intentional to be deceiving, or whether that's just because that's where they are in development, are two different things. And we get to that later in talking about World Design Update, because they do speak specifically to, that they have big portions of it done, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And of course, when they show gameplay like they did with the announcement trailer, they're going to show the most polished places. And we don't know what's beyond that fog of war. And it could very much be nothing. And we could very much be just seeing a very linear, very polished part of the game. But then it could be more than that. So that's another tough one because what they have and what they're able to show, who knows what that is right now? Only they do. And so, that's going to be also another part of the conversation with the gameplay. Even if we get a lot of gameplay, even if it's all gameplay, to your point, it's going to be hard for, I think, some people to accept that, it is what it is and that there's more beyond it. Anything else to add to the stream dates?
I can say that when I saw the fact that they might invite some streamers, first I got a little bit jealous, and second I realized that I should start streaming really quickly.
I think this is the thought of half of the Discord, at least.
Actually, I said in the 20 minutes after the news went up that they should invite some random people from the community because it would be a nice publicity stunt.
Sure.
And Eugene actually thumbed up my comment with the reaction. It was as well with the smiling emoji, but I mean, wink wonk, right?
Yeah. Well, let me speak to that because they say streamers. They don't say popular streamers. They don't say massive streamers. They don't say huge influencers. They just say streamers. And they have opened up the content creator program to everyone. Yeah. So if anyone is out there and wants to be a content creator for this game, they can. They just need to go fill out the form on the site.
Basically, yeah.
It is that easy. And if you want to get in on this and you want to be a streamer, I mean, no guarantees, but your best chance is to just get active now and get in there, get on Twitch, do your thing, and sign up for the content creator program. And, your chances to get in may be a bit higher. Who knows? But they don't specifically say lyric or, something along these lines. They say streamers, and that could be any of you out there.
Someone to show the game to the world.
Exactly. And I would say, without a doubt, I would almost guarantee that this team, from the little that I know them, from our interactions online and their videos and their heart and soul that they've put into this game so far, I would say that this team values quality over quantity. And that they would love, guys like Dvalin going out there and, just like losing it over their game because they love it so much, rather than having someone with, thousands and thousands of views who's either not super passionate about the game or not going to stick around and play the game later. But that's just my opinion. I think they are a team that would definitely value people that are going to be passionate, supportive of the community, building it up, growing the community, helping it exist and survive.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if Artificial Core were to do some kind of paid advertisement for the game with the bigger streamers. It would be very not characteristic of them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I don't think so. Sometimes though, from the dev side of things on sort of a mid-level side, it's tempting because, it does help get eyeballs on the game. And if your game stands for itself, then those eyeballs on the game can turn into people playing the game.
Yeah.
Go
on.
Go. No, after you. I was done.
Yeah, and I've seen this little funny clip of the little guy called Asmongold. Not in the game though, but
right.
But someone donated a trailer for the game called Escape from Tarkov in its entirety for him to watch, and he was like, "Yeah, I like this game. I maybe try it." And then he saw who donated it. The developers actually donated the trailer for him to watch.
Okay.
I mean, if it works, it works.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. I do wish them the best here. I know this is a very tough line to walk. This involves a lot of marketing and PR decisions, and you really have to weigh out the pros and the cons with this kind of stuff. You can have a nice balance of having paid streamers, having big streamers, and also supporting your community streamers as well. That balance can exist together. I've seen it before on games, and I think it can be done well. That was gameplay stream dates. They're coming up soon, and we're all very much excited to see what Artificial Core brings us there.
Greetings, adventurer, and welcome to COREPunk, an MMORPG where you'll experience fog of war in a vast, seamless open world. Miles and miles of wilderness to get lost in. Discover a small camp in the middle of nowhere. Or a busy metropolis booming with life and activity. You are free to go wherever you want. Use public transport to reach remote locations fast and safe. Begin your journey by creating a hero. Each has its own unique role, abilities, and a set of fighting styles. Complete quests for NPCs who are too busy to do it themselves.
You're gonna need a better gear for that.
Kill monsters to earn gold. Shred them with your best move. Be careful, though. They get pretty crafty when fighting as a unit. Grow crops. Chop wood. Mine ore. Trade goods for missing resources to craft the weapon you deserve. Suit up. It won't make you stronger, but you'll look absolutely fabulous. Choose a set of talents. Boost yourself with artifacts to become the ultimate war machine. Use Fog of War wisely to hunt down and ambush your enemies. Attack those who dared to take your farming spot. Then chill in a city. Show off your loot, and find reckless companions to take on a challenge that no one else has the guts for.
We will come again. We'll come again until we're done. 'Cause only those who win, only those who stand their ground. No one leaves until we're done. When we stand as one, we won't leave till we're done. When we stand as one, we won't leave till we're done. When we stand as one.
Sign up for beta at corepunk.com.
Okay, next up, we're going to be talking about the business model. This is another hot topic, a very huge topic, and a very big reveal in this content update, this Q1 2020 content update, the business model. So, one of the most popular requests was on the game's business model. We've settled on a buy-to-play plus cosmetics, which means battle pass and in-game shop. From day one, having a fair game was their top priority, and this is how they're going to do it. Games cost money to make. Games cost money to support and survive. And multiplayer games, especially massive multiplayer games, they cost a lot of money in server support, server structure, and I know 100% that I value good server structure over having to pay or not. And I will gladly support having a smooth experience in the game. My opinion here is very skewed because I do have a development background, and I 100% will support a game with cash money if I like it and if I want to see it survive, because I feel that's the only way to show your true support if you really like a game is to buy into the system that they have in place. and to pay in and support it that way. That said, I think this is, in my opinion, again, I just said my opinion is a bit skewed, but in my opinion, this buy-to-play plus cosmetics is a really cool way to do it. This means they're not going to have a subscription. So you buy the game up front, you pay this cash money to buy it. It means that people that come into the game at a later date will probably end up paying less, which will be good for getting more people in the game later and supporting that structure. And then on top of that, if you want to see this game survive, if it's not just something you're going to jump in and play for a little bit and then jump out again, there's the option for battle passes and this in-game shop where you can go in and spend your hard-earned cash on cosmetics for your characters and looking like a badass and supporting the devs while you're at it. So enough of my skewed opinion. Dragom, where do you sit on this business model?
Oh, the announcement of the business model has been quite the news lately, in the especially in the Russian part of the community, because I can tell you, not all the people in that community agree on that decision.
Okay.
Yeah, and personally, I would say that personally, I would take subscription over the cosmetic and in-game shop in general, probably, because it's just, it has been stated in the Russian community, and I sort of agree with that, that buy-to-play plus cosmetics and an in-game shop in general can look like you're getting a ticket into a theme park where there are only rides that you have to pay to ride. So that's like you have to pay double efficiently.
I understand. This is actually a really good analogy because here in Germany at the Wiesn, at Oktoberfest, you don't pay to get in, but you pay per individual ride or food or whatever you want to partake in. In the US, you go to the, say, county fair or the state fair, you do pay to get in, and you pay per ride, and you pay for food, and you pay for everything else you want to do. So when I came to Germany and I went to Oktoberfest and it was free for me to go every day and I could just go there, this was a much better and more fun option for me and encouraged me to spend more money at Oktoberfest. So
Because
Yeah.
because you have the wider audience and have the potential to get more money. And as it was stated in this same debate in the Russian community, what are the most profitable games right now? They are free to play.
yeah, that's fair. Though the subscription model, I think, is a tough one because there's a lot of times where, I don't know, a subscription is something that I don't want to pay that month for whatever reason. Maybe it's hard times or whatever. And so I don't. But with the battle pass or in game, I feel like there's a bit more flexibility there. I don't know. This is still it's still a hot topic, regardless if we have a very early view of what their business model will be. This could definitely change again. This could definitely not change, and we just live with it. That said, whatever the business model is, I'm going to support it, and I'm going to support it to the best of my ability because I love this project so far. But this is very good to know that specifically in the Russian community that they have a very specific view of this. Because this is one that you can't please everyone with. I mean, you can't please everyone anyway.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah, but the business model is really going to split people's opinions. We just have to have faith that it's going to work. Because, there's people that will buy to play and then never spend anything inside. And does that mean that the support of the game rests on the rest of the community that is willing to pay? That's the difference between this and a subscription, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have a subscription, everyone is part of the process of supporting the game. But when you have a battle pass or in-game shop, Only the people that buy into that system end up supporting, and they're kind of carrying the load for everyone else. I don't know. It's a tough one.
From what I've heard, that's sort of what happened to Fallout 76. It was a buy-to-play plus cosmetics and an in-game shop, but because the in-game shop was created to produce the bigger part of the budget, the the game went basically dirt cheap in some places.
Yeah.
I think another thing that's pretty that people are afraid of from that announcement is the battle pass, because personally I can only attach battle pass or season pass for that matter to something that is essentially well, not predatory per se, but it makes you want more from the game, and it makes you to pay for that thing that you have so close to you, but you can't reach. And it's that paywall that is very visible, which is important.
Yeah.
That you can get this right now, and if you pay, you will get also this and this and this. See how attractive it is.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Plus, you have to do the work as well, because battle passes work in that you have to grind them to end up getting those goodies at the end, because all the good stuff is usually towards the end. I have faith that they will put together a good battle pass. This is what I've said before about battle passes in previous conversation, is that on the one hand, they get people motivated to come back and play every day and grind this out and get them in the game and get them staying in the game. On the other hand, to your point, there's a lot of stuff there, and you do have to work for it, and you do have to pay for it. And sometimes if it's a weak battle pass, like for example in Rocket League, a lot of times I look at the battle pass and I'm like, I wouldn't even buy this stuff. I wouldn't even put some of this stuff on my car if it was free. And that's what they're presenting as their battle pass presentation and options. If they come with a super sick battle pass that has just really amazing content in it consistently, then that's a different story. So I see all the points you're bringing up, and I think they're all very valid.
Yeah, if it's a battle pass that will be able to advertise itself, and it wouldn't be shoved into my face when I don't have it, and if I don't have it,
right,
then I'm totally fine with it, and I might actually buy it.
Yeah, this is my biggest. So I don't want the battle pass in Modern Warfare, and this thing is shoved in my face every 5 minutes, and every time I start the game, and every time I'm just playing and enjoying myself. It really makes a huge point of telling me that I've unlocked stuff in the battle pass, even though I don't have access to it. That's kind of a kick in the face. So that's the business model discussion. I think this is going to be the hottest topic over the next months out of all of this, in my opinion. What do you think?
We have a stated decision from the top, so to speak, and I would argue that it will be even more discussed than it was before, because it's not just, oh yeah, they should get that. It's they should get that instead of that because this and this and this.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I expect to see a lot of conversation about this in the Discord. Business model as part of the Q1 update. Hot topics all around. All right, welcome back. This is the World Design Update as part of the Q1 Corepunk update. This is CORECAST episode 5. BOAST here with Dragom. And we've already seen some selections of the world. And they say that they have big portions of the world built, but there is a lot of work to be done. Right now, they're working on the starting location and the initial experiences, which we know is very important in MMOs. And that's what we'll see essentially in the first streams. It's a work in progress, but these are some of the screenshots. And from what I'm reading there, it's some of the screenshots of this initial area.
Yeah, it does look like that. Especially now that I look at those pictures, notice how there are 4 of them. What else is 4?
And look at the colors too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
especially thematically, the last one looks very Yorner to me.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool observation. I'm going to have to throw these as overlays as this part of the conversation continues on the YouTube version of the cast, because this is definitely a must see. They very much have the colors and the warmth or the coldness of the locations that they're showing off there. So 4 potential starting points, right? 4 factions or groups
Cultures.
in the game, cultures, thank you, that you could potentially start with and start your adventure with. So we're seeing a taste of that here. Any thoughts on this?
I especially noticed something interesting about the first picture is that thematically and in the color palette, it looks sort of like the Warcraft's location called Duskwood. It's very dim and it's pretty dark, and I think tonally in the gameplay it will be pretty dark as well, and it's all dark fantasy. But there is a car rusting in the front, and I think
Yeah.
it's what generally Corepunk is all about. Is the mix and match of the fantasy and some kind of high tech / just modern technology.
Yeah, which is, I think, what speaks to me most about this game. We don't see a neon city here, though.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. That's very cool. This is the world design update, and we'll be sure to throw these up on the YouTube version. You can also find them in Article 25 in the news section on corepunk.com. We'll put the link in the chat as well, or in the description. Next up is Creatures and Monsters. And this is the final section of the Q1 quarterly update for 2020 in Corepunk. So Creatures and Monsters, they talk about working on a lot of various friendly and hostile creatures and characters of the world. And here's a brief glimpse of our latest work on this. We'll share these images as well. And that same link will link to these characters in the news article. So let's talk about these.
Yeah, so the top 3 probably, well, at least half of them depict some sort of enemy, while the other is more neutral. So let's take it from the top.
Yeah.
So the first picture definitely looks to me like some kind of cult.
Yeah,
Something
very
very
cool.
Lovecraftian.
Yeah, very cool. I love the style of the first ones. I would almost want to play this guy as a mage, the big fatty on the left.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And the one on the far left of the same big guy, it's almost like teeth around his collar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so cool. Such cool designs.
Yeah, I remember some of the early concept arts had the same kind of, what do you call it, like a teeth hood around the face.
Yeah. Ah, it's so sick. We see
And
some.
the guy on the bottom left has a lot of faces.
Exactly. Yeah, lots of different face options. We see a scythe and some staffs and stuff with these guys. And the guy on the right has some daggers, some blades. Oh, man. This is I love this top part one the most, I think, out of everything that's in here. Very cool stuff. What's next?
So next one looks very tribal. It looks very, again, sort of occultic. Maybe they're somewhat connected through the story. I wonder.
Yeah, maybe. There's also symbols on the banners of these guys.
Yeah. And from what I can tell, and again, it's just a prediction, but I'm fairly sure that these guys fight Phaidons and the other way around.
Ah, okay. Very cool. And below that, we've got a sort of forest creature, like a tree creature.
Yeah, like a tree creature that maybe is a progression of some sorts during like the age. For example, the Russian YouTuber Dave Jones, he pointed out that they sort of look like the character depicted in this art is sort of aging from left to right.
Huh.
So the smallest one is the eldest, I guess, and the one on the left is the youngest one.
Because
But
he's got the green, and then it goes into losing the green. I see.
but again, if I were to guess, these look like someone from the Elenian environment to me.
Yeah, I love that they also included like the ZBrush sculpt there, or the 3D sculpt, so you can really see the detail that they are putting into each of these characters. Next up is clearly the shout out to Dvalin here with this bluish ox kind of thing. Scary creature.
The winter elks.
Yeah. Oh, it's very cool. Oh, it says that even. Yeah, winter elk.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love the antlers. The bottom left antlers, probably the one on the fourth one, is just, I just love this style of like, it's sort of fluid, but it's very sharp and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. And then after that, we've got almost like not really a zombie or undead, but sort of a gremlin, or I don't even know how to describe this thing. Some sort of wild creature. Looks like he was human at one point, though, with how he's dressed.
I don't know, maybe they're just into fashion.
Yeah, maybe.
This, if we were to put the creature into an environment shown in the previous world update pictures, I would put them right up to that Yorner mineshaft.
Yeah, lurking in there, huh? Waiting for you. All right. And last but not least, we've got these real like spawn scorpion looking creatures down at the bottom.
Yeah, and I looked into the concept art, and it says there, it's written sin, and I asked Erin, it's sin number 9.
Yeah.
And maybe sin is the name of that creature. Maybe it's the name of the artist. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be the creature, and it's like variations of them doing like tests on creatures and creating sort of different versions of them. This is really cool.
And since they call it sins, I decided to sort of think about it and maybe put together, maybe they are, connected to the deadly sins, and it being sort of one of the more common sort of metaphors and themes in enemies in general in games.
Okay.
I can somewhat see it, but I still need confirmation.
Very cool. This has been the creatures and character update, creatures and monsters. And this is the final topic of the Q1 update. Again, we will share some overlays and some links down in the description of all of this stuff. And the last thing from Eugene there at the bottom, it says, thank you for your support and feedback. Stay safe, stay calm, and stay united. You're the best. And I really want to, mirror that back to the developers, to Eugene and his team. Thank you for all your hard work and for considering our feedback and really running with this game and making it such a cool and exciting thing to talk about. You guys also stay safe, stay united, and we appreciate everything you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. The poor guys had to stay up till 11 p.m. on a Friday night to get this out.
Yeah, see, there you go. There's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, and we really need to have some patience and love and support for these guys. If you're into Corepunk, then be into Corepunk and be into the team and support them with everything you got. That's my stance. I'm Boast. This has been CORECAST, the Corepunk podcast, episode 5, the Q1 update, the quarterly Q1 update for 2020. It's been a pleasure to have Dragom back on the show, and it's been a pleasure to talk about this update. Dragom, any last words for the endearing fans out there?
I was just going to say that it was not only fun to read through the update, it was very fun to be with the community in Discord and wait for it to drop, because Irene was kept saying that it was almost there, just wait up, and we were going crazy. And I think it's something about this game that just brings the community together. We're united, as Eugene has stated.
Yeah, very cool stuff. On behalf of CORECAST, Corepunk, Dragom, I'm BOAST, and we hope to see you next time for the next episode of CORECAST. Stay tuned. We're going to be covering all of this news and excitement as it comes out, and we appreciate your listening and support so far. Until next time, see you later.